You give and give and give. You love hard. You show up. You fix things. You do things. You're the one a lot of people call when they need support, your mom, your sister, your cousin. But when you need it, mostly it's silence. And it's not because people don't care. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that family and friends don't care. Well, maybe they don't, but in this case, I'm not. It's because when you're always the giver, you don't know when not to give, right? You don't leave room to be received. What you don't realize is that the more you give, the less connected you feel. I know that feeling. I used to think love meant doing more, right? And it's logical. That's sort of the way we're programmed to function, or we're programmed to believe, especially as women. We're nurturers. So I used to think that love meant doing more, and that the more I gave, the more I'd be valued, the more I'd be appreciated, the more I'd be seen. But there's a point where it's not reciprocal, where the more you give does not guarantee the more you're loved or appreciated. And what I didn't notice was that as I was doing this, continuing to do this, I was disappearing. Who I was disappearing in the process. And while everyone felt thought about, cared for, nurtured, loved, no one actually knew who I was. Because we learn early that love must be earned. It's a conditioning, a programming that I'll continue to talk about, the hill that I'm going to die on, especially as black women, women in particular. That if you're kind, dependable, helpful, people will stay in your life. So we start performing goodness instead of just experiencing love. We start to give to manage people's feelings. And don't get me wrong, this is not something that we do intentionally, but when this is the way that you're molded, when this is your modus operandi, after a while you the it's so easy to shift from doing out of, the natural love and affection and whatever else that we have, nurturing things that we have, into being performative, into performing goodness instead of experiencing love. And so we find ourselves after a while giving to manage people's feelings, to maintain peace, to maintain love, or the illusion of love and happiness. We give to protect our connections because we feel that if we don't, we won't have this relationship, this partnership in our lives anymore. And while it looks like generosity on your part, it's really fear that's driving this type of love and this type of giving, because you're giving because you're afraid of what happens if you stop. I remember it's a very slippery slope from giving out of love to giving out of performance and giving out of fear that if you stop, things will unravel. Because if you stop giving, you feel like no one will choose you. And that you so you start to notice it in small ways. When you go home after pouring into everyone else, you realize that silence when you're not giving, that the way you feel when you're not giving is heavy. There's no lightness around it. And when you're even thanked, you don't feel seen. It's almost even the gratitude feels performative in a sense, because you've also done is to you've trained others to just expect you to be a giver, and so they thank you and you feel like, okay, you almost feel like a caretaker, not a companion in romantic relationships. For your friends, you feel like a coach, not like a friend, you know. And then when someone does try to love you, you because again, this is the conditioning that we've been operating under. There's almost like a flinch, like a recoil, like a pullback, and you're questioning. We are wondering why they're being so nice to me. I haven't done anything. because in your mind, love is like a paycheck that you have to earn. And if you haven't clocked in, if you haven't done the work, if you haven't done anything to earn it, you don't feel deserving of it. And so you just keep justifying why someone would or should love you, because you're helpful, you're loyal, you're successful, you're kind. That's why I should be loved. But love is not a resume, love is a gift. Love is a gift that you have to open up yourself to receive. And I keep saying that as high achieving women, that's one of the hardest things for us to receive, because receiving means that you're not in constant motion. It means that you're not the one doing, you're the one being, and you're being in a receptive state. You're being in a state that is open and vulnerable to some extent, because you're not trying to make anything happen or make anyone do anything. You're in a state of openness to receiving, and that requires a certain level of vulnerability that we have not been conditioned to share. It's there, but when we share it, it's from a place of performance even. I want you to think about this. If love was something you had to earn, and none of us will get a dime, none of us will get a penny, because God already loves us as we are. It's not done when you don't get it, or it's not when you've done enough that you get it, or you've helped enough, or you finally rested enough. That's not when you get love. You get love every time, just like that, right now. And that's the model. That's what love is supposed to look like, where you're always receiving. It's there in everything. It's there when somebody says good morning, when someone says hi, when you haven't done anything, when you meet somebody and they smile and they say, this is a nice hairdo, dress. That's love that you are supposed to receive. It's unearned, it's undeserved, but it's yours. And think about it. If God can love you unconditionally, if you can love you just as you are with all our stuff, why can't you let people love you without performing? As I wrap up, I just want to say this to you. You have to get to a state where, well, you don't have to, but my suggestion is that you get to a state where you're not conflating or substituting control with connection, because you can't be loved while you're managing everyone's experience of you, while you're curating how they're going to feel around you. That's not going to be love. Let people show up as they are. Let someone give you something just as they want, in the way they want. Just say thank you. Don't give any stories around it. you know let someone love you just for being you, not for what you do or what you can do or what you've done, but for who you are. That's what I want to leave you with. So what I would love for you to do is to tell me in the comments, where in your life have you been overgiven? Where? Take a minute, think about it. Where have you been showing up without allowing yourself to receive, always feeling the need to give? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.